Hey there, Star Wars fans. Welcome back to another episode of Hyperspace Hangout. I'm Matt.
And I'm Ez, and friends, we have news. Actually, some Star Wars news. It's
I,
been
I
been
guess
dry.
it's not really news anymore. Now that we record this, because the only way this podcast would ever happen
That's
is
true.
anymore is the way Ez and I record it, which is ahead of time. And so, some news is going to be, but Star Wars is in a lull right now. But,
It's been
hey,
a
maybe
lot.
when we get a show and it's week to week, we'll fire it back up, try to, see what we can do. But
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
nature of things. But uh, we were teased as as Star Wars fans with this Mando trailer.
Yep.
Just a
And
tease.
it's just a tease. And as I told you right moments ago, I said there's one word in the whole thing, and the word is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt actually goes. He says, "I'm not so sure the trailer was impressive."
I mean,
I'm just teasing, but it's just like, man, what in the world, you know? So yeah, it just dropped. I mean, it's got 9.3 million views, and the well, I mean, I guess we can go kind of, if you want to.
well, no, I think we just do big takeaways and just what we think about it because we had some people, ask us what we thought and send in messages and stuff. And I think a lot. I
Yeah,
mean, and it's been out for a little bit now, so
yeah. So
it
so
looks
what?
good.
It looks good. Yeah, it does look actually okay. The opening, like the music, the build up, was just to hear the theme again was pretty awesome. It's a teaser, like I said, just a teaser trailer. So you know, the coolest thing was Zeb, right? There's this looks like Zeb. I guess he's got like the staff, the electro staff, and he's jumping around and he's coming down on some people. So it looks like he's going to be playing. There's going to be a bigger role for him in this, and I didn't expect that. So that's I guess neat, and that shows Dave Filoni's influence. But it looks cool. And actually, this is the first. Isn't this the first time we've been back to the theaters since?
Rise of Skywalker for Star
Right.
Wars.
Yeah, Rise of
Yeah.
Skywalker. God.
Well, let me tell you, Disney needs it because man, they have been having flop after flop after flop this year.
Yeah.
This has been a very, very, very bad year for Disney. Elio, total flop. Tron Ares is going to be a colossal disaster.
Really.
Oh yeah, I mean it made like 33 million in opening weekend, which we're still in right now, which is like bad. It's I mean it's good. That movie's gonna be lucky to make like $200 million, $250 million. So Disney's having a bad year, but I think next year, I think this movie looks good. Again, this seems like it's a smaller budget. Seems like it just from the teaser. Of course, we don't really know what the plot is or what's going to be going on. But I mean, it just looks like a big episode of Mandalorian. Does it just in the trailer? Does it look like a big production movie? No. Like even you
No.
go back and you watch the Solo teaser, like the cinematic lighting in Solo and everything, which some similar shots here, really. Solo remember on the bridge and the snow and like on a canyon side, and we get that here too, right? Remember with the walkers walking, which is pretty cool.
Right.
But it just, I mean, it looks cool. If you told me this was just season 4 of The Mandalorian, I would say okay. But it's like there's nothing that immediately struck out to me as saying, "Oh, this is a movie."
Good point. Yeah, it does just seem like season 4. Maybe a slight uptick in budget or something, but it doesn't seem like over the top. What was crazy when we actually went back to Coruscant, and they actually put a lot of effort and energy when we had like Dr. Pershing and stuff. When we went back there, it did look really, really good, and it felt like it could have been an emotion picture. You remember that scene where Dr. Pershing he's back on Coruscant, and I forget what her name is, but she's like the informant or something that was there with Moff Gideon and stuff. That was some cool stuff, but it felt like it was a good production value. This is kind of like stuff's dark. When stuff is dark, I feel like it's like it's dark to kind of maybe because they don't have the budget, like it's not top end budget.
Can I read you some of the can I read you some of the comments? So this trailer's not doing well. 9.3 million views and only 140,000 upvotes on YouTube. That's like horrendously bad.
Yeah.
Top comments. I'm glad Pedro's getting work again. Feels like it's been days since his last performance. Somehow the Razor Crest has returned. Disney execs, everyone stopped talking about Jimmy Kimmel because remember this did, here's the new Star Wars movie.
Right.
Wow, I wish I felt anything. Grogu is certainly doing things in this movie. It's like, But
I know.
to be
Yeah.
fair, this did come out on the weekend that everyone was super divided.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I was in the camp not happy with Disney, but a lot of people weren't happy with Disney. And so that may be playing a part in this, unfortunately.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, given it came out 2 weeks ago. So
Right.
yeah,
It was just Jimmy Kimmel stuff was all going on.
right.
Everyone was talking about. So that may be playing a part in this a little bit. You know, if this had come out like say now, you know, it might be slightly, but I still would say it's not doing particularly great.
Yeah, and I would think, as far as what Star Wars has going for it, like characters, Andor did really well, and then Mando has been doing well. Season 1, season 2 were really good, and season 3 back and forth. So this is still one of their really. This is a good original character for them, and Grogu is like the face of Star Wars. So we said this last time, like it kind of has to do well. I think, like I mean, it doesn't have to do again
No,
depending
it
on its
does.
budget, but it does feel like it has to bring a lot, or at least lead us somewhere. Or I don't know, man.
Let's say, I mean, yeah, it depends on the budget. Like, let's say that it's $150 million, which would be like, I don't know, you know, Mando, some of those were like 80, some were hundreds of the really big ones. So if you're talking $150 million for the budget, which I think is probably where this is, which is kind of like the lower side of like big action movies. Excuse me, if it makes 300 million, I bet it makes around 500 million because just the box office in general is down a little bit. But I would say, because that's like what Superman made. Right.
Yeah,
So if this makes $500 million, Disney would be very happy with it.
right, okay, yeah. And I mean, the weird thing is, so what this is coming out May 22nd. Okay, so
Mhm.
we'll have some Star Wars hype. I mean, will it be
I think
after?
I do think this movie will do well. Just for the sheer fact that it's a Star Wars movie we haven't had in a long time. I mean, you know, like
Well,
it's hard to compare it to say like Tron, which is coming out right now, which had
right,
like no publicity or anything. This is already an established brand in Star
yeah,
Wars.
yeah,
People like the Mandalorian,
yep,
right? And so there's a lot more going for it than even say like Fantastic Four, which came out this year, which like, you know, it's a Marvel movie, but it's the Fantastic Four. Like they're not particularly like the biggest thing, which also had Pedro Pascal in it. So I think this will probably do well.
yeah. I just want to see an interview with Pedro and like a live action Grogu, and just see how those interviews sort of
Oh
play
yeah.
out. Because like people were kind of making fun of him for some of his interviews and stuff, and I'm just like I don't know, put him up there with Grogu. I want to see him. I want to see him with him on the stage. But dude, I think you're right with the May the 4th stuff. That'll be Star Wars Day, and then a couple weeks after that, they're also going to be announcing. At that time, we'll know where Star Wars Celebration will be. We'll know where the 50th celebration is going to be at. They'll probably be selling tickets and everything. So it'll be May is going to be like a big. There's going to be quite a bit dropping. And is Ahsoka coming out before or after? I don't even
Maybe.
remember here. But all of that's going to build like that. That helps, I think, when you get people thinking about Star Wars and you're starting to drop more stuff. I mean, I just saw this week they're dropping some stuff with Leia and Rey, and there's a new novel, and so they're starting to kind of, as Matt and I said, like felt like tail end of the summer, especially after Andor was over. There was this lull in Star Wars and starting to kind of ramp back up, and it needs to get us into the Mandalorian. And as Matt said, it is one of their characters that has done well, but I think the reason there's not much to say is there's no plot. I have no
Right.
idea. I
We have
have
no idea what it is yet.
no clue. We could spitball and say who's the villain, what's the thing.
I'll tell you who I
But
hope. I'll tell you who I hope. Do you even want to see Moff Gideon in it?
I don't know. You think
I
that's
feel
what they're
like
gonna
we need to
do?
be done with him for a bit. No, I'm down for Moff Gideon to come back at some point, whether
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
clone that died, there's all this stuff going on, but I don't want him like immediately right now.
No,
I
no, it needs
want
to be
to
somebody different.
you need to start tying in this Thrawn stuff.
Yeah,
Remember
for sure.
that was like some of the cracks early in Avengers. Like, dude, when are we going to get to Thanos? Right? Because like
Yeah,
there was a lull in like from
true.
like Civil War and some of this other, like where it's like, man, when are we going to get like some more of this Infinity stuff's going? And then they finally did, really started ramping it up, and it was like, okay, sweet. And then it turned into an Endgame, which is like the biggest deal ever. So yeah, it's just like right now, it's like, where we left Mando, you have to think about like what's going on. It's like, okay, well, unfortunately, Carl Weathers died, so I
I
don't
know.
know.
God, dude.
They're gonna explain that.
Right.
Cardoon coming back. I don't know. I mean, there's been that. Katie Sackhoff talked about how she was like struggling to play Bo-Katan in live action. Is she in this movie? And, I mean, so we just really don't know. All we know is Sigourney Weaver's in it, and she's going to be playing a new role, and we don't know what that's ultimately going to be. We do see walkers, which is kind of cool, but we have seen walkers before in Mando, and they were not like Imperial. They were just like people who happened to like go get an old one. Right. Remember those bandits had one in like season 1. Remember him and Cardoon, excuse me, take it out in that village.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True. Yep.
Right. So, I mean, I'm hoping it is, and I hope it starts to tie into Thrawn and, some of the, like, there's a lot. I mean, at the end of the day, even though I didn't predict, like, I felt like Mando season 3 was, it was a little down tick for me. And I mean, it was good. And then Ahsoka, it was okay. But I mean, I still trust Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. And this is a movie. This is like Dave Filoni's first movie, so I expect him to be swinging for the fences.
Well, yeah, and I feel like there's gonna be something very small or subtle at the end. I feel like the big boss. I mean, everything that I've read, Bespin Bulletin, which I'm not going to do any major spoilers here. They are well connected to somebody, and they and Christian Harloff are often dropping some spoilers. The only villain that I've seen so far would be this Hutt. This who was the Hutt that I think he was back in Clone Wars, Road of the Hutt, and he's like rescued. Isn't he? I've seen Jabba's son.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty sure that's Jabba's son. Who is?
Real quick, I don't want to send you down while you're looking that up. I don't want to send you down a total rabbit hole here because this could be a whole episode.
Yeah.
But
it is Jabba's son. Yep.
And then, I mean, dude, this could be like a series. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot to go into this, and we don't have to go into all of it right now. But just hear me out for a second. Because I want to know the original plan for these characters, like Dave Filoni's original plan, and what the plan is with them now. Because we have been hinting at, we have been teasing. Dave Filoni's whole deal has been the Mortis gods. And is Grogu part of that? The child, right? Like there for a while, we thought it was going to be that connected. Matt Smith. Oh, it seemed like maybe they were going to use him in Rise of Skywalker, and then they didn't.
Right.
Was that maybe because Dave Filoni actually we don't know any of these behind the scenes discussions, but maybe Dave Filoni actually could have said something. Oh, I don't want that guy in Rise of Skywalker. Because remember, we've talked about like, Rian Johnson saying, hey, you can't do this in my movie and this. What if Dave Filoni's like, I've got a plan for the Mortis gods and I can't have them in Rise of Skywalker? Because remember, they went down that route and then they didn't. Maybe they saw Mandalorian and they said, this is going to be really good. And Dave Filoni has his own plan. Now, we don't know any of that because nobody's ever said that. Like that could just be like deep table discussions.
That's legit. You're right. I mean,
I mean, maybe we know Matt Smith is going to be in the Starfighter movie with Ryan Gosling.
Right.
Maybe that's something you could do with Rey later. And maybe you bring Grogu in and maybe you tie up this. Maybe this is just the end of the story with Mando and Grogu. And then you could bring Grogu into the Rey stuff later. So there's a ton you could do with this movie. I hope it's not just a small adventure to cash in and it leads us to something bigger, but just, the teaser, there's really nothing to get out of this. Just knowing what we're doing. I mean, he's on an adventure is where we're at right now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it feels like, they're on an adventure. And as you said,
an adventure, like that's just what it is. Yeah.
Right. Because again, next trailer could drop and it could be that there's some bigger thing kind of going on here, but it feels like for them to be called up into, that's weird because they're with the rebellion, like that Sigourney Weaver scene. She's a rebel or not a rebel. I'm sorry. The New Republic. And they're at some headquarters, and then Zeb was also involved with the rebels. Again, New Republic. So he was jumping off the walls and, kind of, attacking people and stuff. So I'm just sort of like what people are speculating is, again, with Stinky or Jabba the Hutt's son here. This is the guys. This is the Hutt. It's ridiculous. Like that he gets captured again or something, or that they have to go, save him or for some reason, like the New Republic has made an alliance with him and he's one of the good Hutts that they're kind of trying to, get some good relations with the Hutts or something. I don't know. It's gonna be weird. But dude, I think you're right though with the whole. Just to back up a second, the Rise of Skywalker stuff. Well, because
remember, Rise of Skywalker and Mando came out actually Mando had already come out during Rise of Skywalker. Remember, because
Right.
Disney Plus
Yes.
dropped, and we were like, because we saw Grogu force heal, and then we saw Rey force heal in
Exactly.
Rise of Skywalker. We're like, oh my god, this might be a big deal. And then nothing's ever been done with it. But
Yeah, so it was Colin Trevorrow, Duel of Fates, episode 9. Like you said, it was rumored that Matt Smith was coming in. And people were
and then
thinking,
also that what's his name was going to use him too, J.J. Abrams, remember? And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah. And then somebody stepped in and said no, probably not a good idea. And then literally at the exact same time, you have an episode titled The Child, right?
mhm.
I mean, so you have like you've got like the sister, the brother, you've got the son, the daughter, the father. Now you've got like the child, and then presumably we're having in Ahsoka 2, we're gonna have the mother, this Abeloth kind of crazy character that showed up in Fate of the Jedi. And by the way, Fate of the Jedi is a series, it's a Legend series, but Dave Filoni was instrumental in guiding them because the main villain of that was Abeloth, the mother figure to both the light side and dark side entities from Mortis. So, anyways, I mean, he's been involved in that sort of stuff. It makes sense that he would step in here and say, "Hey, I have this bigger plan." But and how far that stretches, who knows? Interesting that they would cast Matt Smith as maybe the brother,
Right.
and then we're already kind of there with like Shin and Balin Skull. They're on that planet. They're looking into stuff.
And
Yeah.
even like, and the other thing is too, is like, I know it flopped, but the Acolyte did go into this like force creation thing a little bit,
Hmm. Hmm.
which good and bad, right?
Right.
Because part of that is like, well, is Anakin connected to the Mortis gods? They're this bigger thing. What's going on with that? And then maybe that was something they were going to explore
Hmm.
because like
Hmm.
Palpatine is connected to that too,
Yeah.
remember? And like
Yes.
the way between worlds and Ahsoka's there. And are we ever going to get
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
are we ever going to get that stuff
It's
going again? And we're still in limbo, but it's like this huge big deal that exists
yeah.
in
Yeah.
Star Wars that could be its own like movie trilogy.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the higher sort of things, right? It's the highest of the high, the top secret boxes or mystery boxes. They're the only person who can explore them, I feel like, is Dave Filoni. And so it's sort of like, but you're right. I mean, they started some of that with the Acolyte that takes you into, gosh, it takes you into Palpatine and Plagueis and all those guys manipulating with the Force, Anakin becoming one with the Force. You have the child, which is Grogu, born at the exact same time that Anakin Skywalker was born. You know what I mean? Like there's trippy stuff kind of going on there. So it'd be interesting to see how far that's going to go. And then is that going to propel us into a new age of Star Wars with Rey and this whole Starfighter movie?
Right. I mean, right, that's your path to bring anybody back, but I think really there's only one character in Star Wars who I feel like should like literally come back from the dead. And if you wanted to do a way between worlds time thing, I don't think that he's potentially on board with it just because he's like so artistic. And I feel like he's like, I left my stamp on Star Wars. Adam Driver and,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
Ben Solo. I mean, because that's the only character I
Dude.
genuinely feel like you should like, it would be worth it to bring him back
Yes, it would. Yes, it
just
would.
because
That would talk
it
about
would
saving Star
be
Wars.
it would be massive for the franchise.
Matt, I'm telling you, if they bring back Ben Solo, that is monumental. It would absolutely save Star Wars, and he could come back and establish with Rey or however they want to do that. They could continue the Skywalker bloodline, right? They could continue that sort of
Mhm.
that family. This is a story about them. It's a story about Shmi Skywalker and her son, and them being in slavery and rescued, and then his fault, his rise and fall, and then his son coming back and redeeming him. And so then we kind of lose track in the sequels just a little bit. We lose track of the
Right.
grandchild.
I mean, yeah, if you really want to sell us on Rey Skywalker, her and Ben
Oh
Solo get together, then it's like nobody questions like, well, okay, she may not be like a Skywalker herself, but she's trained by Luke and
yeah,
she's mother to actual, the Skywalker bloodline that continues through her, and everyone would be fine accepting her into that family, not just her being like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'm Rey Skywalker. That was like it was just
You want
cheesy.
something powerful, that Star Wars could do that it feels like it's been a while since they've maybe not, I shouldn't say it's been a while, but they've done it once or twice and it's been powerful and they should do it again. they should embrace motherhood. They should embrace the idea of a strong, like this
Yes.
mother, like Rey being a mother, and sort of. I mean, again, I think she is pregnant. I think the whole Force. Ben puts his hand on her, and I that put energy into her. The Force creates whatever, and so I think she's carrying a child. That would be amazing to kind of find out that that's what happened. But yeah, it would save Star Wars. Imagine if Rey is. This is a crazy theory, but people have seen it, right? It's he brings her back to life, pours his essence and spirit into her. His mother is, by the way, alive at the same time. She's yet to become one with the Force. She is still there for some weird mystical reason. She has yet to kind of go. So she's still interacting in a way in this world. He brings Rey back. He, I believe, then creates life in her. And so then she will have a child and they grow up together. And there's this, I don't know, like there's been this loss or void that she feels like there needs to be some, he needs to come back. And that if mother and daughter or mother and son were searching for their father and they could bring him back in some way, dude. And there was some, I don't know. There would be, they have to figure out how to do it. And you have to be really creative. You would need Dave Filoni. You would need to figure out how it all kind of works together, the mystical side and the nether side of the Force. And you'd have to really not explain a lot of it. You can just give us a reason or a ritual. They're doing stuff with rituals and ceremonies and magic and stuff. So they've taken us to another galaxy. So you've broken that barrier. You can break other barriers and you can open other mystery boxes and still keep some of
or you have it to be like, I mean, I don't know. This is like, maybe this is a little too weird, but it's like he did like breathe life into her. And then if she gets pregnant, like you could have her become like pregnant in the Force the way Shmi did.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's just, you don't have to go into the super details of it like the Acolyte was beginning to go to.
Right.
But you could just say the Force created a child within her.
Yeah.
And everyone could just assume that it's like Ben Solo and he breathed, he gave his thing. And, you don't have to go into the nitty gritty details of it, but you could just make it work and leave it vague. And it would just be a cool mystery that everyone would just like kind of headcanon assume is the way it works.
Yeah.
You could go that route with it. And then you could just bring back him as a Force ghost. And that way you wouldn't have to go through like actually like time travel with the way between worlds and stuff like that. But that could be a cool way to do it.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, just again, it would further
just
solidify
name him Ben.
Yeah.
And then
after it's like his father,
after, and then after his father, and then it goes to,
and then is he Ben Skywalker? Is he Ben Solo?
And then it goes to, right. And then you could call him Ben Skywalker. Right. And then, it could be like, okay, well, now it's a Ben and it's, the Obi-Wan connection and all this. And it could just be totally left open. It would be totally cool. I think everyone would just be on board with it.
Yeah.
He could use his air quote father's lightsaber,
Yeah. He could heal. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God. He could. That's true. He's even got like she buried the 2 lightsabers, but she could also even go get his grandmother's or whatever, like lightsaber. Yeah, but dude, no, it's a great way to kind of tie her back into, like, solidify her as a Skywalker, Solo, whatever, part of the bloodline, and then carrying on that legacy of Ben's spirit, in her, and the teachings of Master Skywalker and of Leia, which is cool. I mean, like, I get that, again, they talk about legacy and stuff like that with Ahsoka and Master and Apprentice legacy and all those cool things, right? Which is really neat. But what George Lucas really did design was a Skywalker bloodline. It really was a family story. There was something about his son redeeming him and bringing him back from the dark side. He was the only one that could. And so I think there is some element of that you have to kind of keep going. And this is the perfect way to do it. So I would be shocked if they didn't get into that, but anyways,
So is it real quick just to close out here on the Mando trailer, because again, it was a teaser. It looked cool. What are we going to get from it? But if you had to, what do you think what is ultimately this is going to give us? Are we just going to Thrawn, or do you think they're going to set up something more for like the Rey stuff?
I think if they're smart, it's twofold.
Or is it just Mando season 4?
Well. It also kind of depends on, okay, this is a weird answer, but this trailer is about what they're doing beyond this. Like I think it's meant to be, you know how Superman was fun. Like Superman, we went and watched it, and it was good. It was really good, and it had good pieces in it, and it set up something bigger. It sort of propelled us back
Right.
into the DCU. I feel like this movie is going to have a fun element to it, but at the end, there is going to be some real serious implications. Either Grogu is taken by Thrawn, which would make sense because Thrawn is trying to perhaps study this. I mean, everyone's fascinated with Grogu and this extended life and his force powers and whatnot, and Yoda's species. So, wouldn't surprise me if Thrawn were to steal him, or someone else from that Dark Council the Shadow Council were to steal him, and then that sort of is like the ending or some big cliffhanger thing. I don't think some people have said Din Djarin's dying in this, and he's going to sacrifice himself for like Grogu in some crazy way. That would make this an extremely epic movie. I felt like he was going to be involved with Ahsoka again later on in their fight with Thrawn. You have to decide, are you going to do one big Thrawn movie, or are you going to do like a Thrawn trilogy of movies? Like, what are you going to do after this? And I'm sure they've thought about
Right.
this, but once we see this, we'll kind of know. We'll kind of know, like, okay, they're setting up an epic multi-film thing, or if they get through a lot of stuff and they really get to some nitty gritty stuff with Thrawn, then it might be shorter than we think. I don't know. I mean, it's really kind of
Yeah.
hard to tell.
I think it's gonna be a little bit of all, but I think it really is just gonna be kind of like Mando season 4. I mean, just because it seems like, because I follow the box office and everything, because I'm still an AMC shareholder, and so from what I've been seeing, all these movie studios do is essentially they said, look, streaming is so expensive that we need to return to the box office because you're double dipping. Essentially, it's more valuable for us to make smaller budget movies than it is for us to do streaming. Like Andor, they had to like break the bank open to do, right? And so it's like, well, there was no cash on the other side from that, like in a movie theater, like you would get from Rogue One. So I think we're going to see more of this. I think we're going to see more of these, like Warner Brothers has said that's what they want to do with DC a lot, is like that was some of the plan and what they want to do as well. So I think we're going to see more of that. I think we'll see less shows and more movies.
Yeah.
Even if it is like $150 million movie, well, that's like, if the budget for Mandalorian is like $80 million an episode, and now you're talking like, we'll just take 2 episodes, that's a movie, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with getting more, movies. But again, like you said, they're bigger deals. They need to move the needle a little bit more, because they need to have more stakes, because that's what movies do, right? They move the stakes a little bit more.
True. So if we don't see that, that's what I'm thinking then. That might be a dud. It also might just be, it might tell you like maybe there's not much more of the story to tell or something. I don't really know how to take it. And again, the plot, the only reason we're bringing that up is because the only person we see in this is freaking Stinky and Road of the Hut.
And Sigourney Weaver for like a second.
Yeah, and I don't know who else, like where this is all headed, or how it would tie into Thrawn or the Shadow Council or Moff Gideon or any of those things that take us down to, like, we don't even know, Matt. Let's just be honest real quick.
Is he gonna have his helmet off?
Great question. We don't know at all, by the way, what happens. What's the story with this Imperial remnant? Like, that story is not told. That's the story we are telling now, but we don't know what the end looks like. I mean, we know that somehow we get to the First Order, that the First Order is actually already out there. So we just have no clue. Is there going to be a grand big battle? Is the New Republic going to be on its heels? It doesn't seem like that. So yeah, it's weird. How is the galaxy all engaged in this? It's like you've been hearing about like needing Rangers on the Outer Rim and the Imperial remnants out there, but like, are they a threat? Thrawn coming back is the threat. Right. Supposedly should unite them and they should be on the ropes. So it feels like if you're going to put the New Republic on the ropes for a while, we got to have Admiral Akbar back. He needs to be, in battle with them, and we need to get to know the New Republic a little bit. We don't even really know them. Yeah. So that's, for me, I'm trying to figure out like, what are they going to show us on that side of the fence?
And and we can come back to this, but a good topic I think for us to explore at some point too is also like, how big can this battle with Thrawn be? Because the problem is you guys jumped so far down the line,
right,
that none of these books or anything reference Thrawn. And if it's this like huge Republic-sized battle, you think they'd be talking about that. Like, I just go to like the Bloodlines book.
Yeah.
And it's like, wouldn't they be talking about like,
right.
Oh, well, it's not just the Imperial remnants, then they tried again with Thrawn, and it's like a civil war, I mean, that's
the problem.
That's the problem you had by jumping all the way by jumping 30 years.
Yeah, you don't know what the story is, and so therefore they can't even recall the hit. Like you've jumped 30 years ahead, they can't recall the past 30 years. Then we fill in those 30 years, and it seems artificial. It just seems
Right.
it's not easy to believe. So I don't know. Yeah, what I do hope it's successful, and I think it's going to be. I think they're hiding. Let me be honest. I think they're hiding something big because there's nothing. There's no details about this, and there's got to be something bigger than just like,
Yeah.
oh my
I think
god,
we'll
this
see,
Titan's
and
stolen.
I don't think we'll see more of it until honestly Super Bowl. I think we'll see a Super Bowl trailer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it'd be cool. Hopefully it's something sick and it gets us like, oh my freaking god. Like
Yeah, I think
just
we'll see.
show us
I think we'll
stuff.
see like I think what they'll do is they'll do like a TV spot Super Bowl trailer. I mean, they may not even, now that people just do it around the Super Bowl, they're not paying to actually have it be like on the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Especially if ABC is hosting the Super Bowl. I don't know who is this year, but if they are, then it's Disney's on channel. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
But yeah, I think we'll get like an actual like 2-minute trailer around then, because that's what they did for Solo. Remember, Solo was like a Super Bowl teaser or whatever, and then I think they dropped a trailer as well, and then it was like, okay, because it was coming out in May, so that seems about the time you want to drop it to get everyone hyped.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, friends, I mean, yeah, this is where we at. It's gonna be cool. I'm
We were
excited for
teased.
it. We were teased. We're definitely teased.
I feel teased.
It's a good teaser. My God. So we'll come back to it. Hopefully, yeah, around the Super Bowl for sure. We've got a slew of topics coming up in the next couple of weeks. Matt and I are ready to go, and he's got a juicy one for us next week. So I'll just tease you with it involves a golden god. Okay,
There
a
we
golden
go.
god, and so we will talk about that later. But all right, friends. Hey, thank you guys for listening. As always, may the force be with you, and remember that traveling through hyperspace ain't like dusting crops.